The first 2 weeks of the 2025 regular season have been wild. We've seen 64-yard game-tying field goals, a Super Bowl rematch that did not fail to disappoint, divisional clashes everywhere, and quarterbacks dropping like flies. Now, if you're not familiar with the way we do power rankings with Blitz with Blender, I am staring at a spreadsheet. I have 32 teams in the NFL, all ranked 1 to 32, and that's it. I'm not basing anything off of besides my brain and trying to remember each and every one of the matchups so far and spitting out why I believe these rankings are how it truly goes down. We got to start with the Philadelphia Eagles. Super Bowl champs just beat Patrick Mahomes on the road. Chiefs dropped their second straight one-score game, by the way, after winning 18 in a row. Philadelphia can run the football. They can also play not very well on the road and still beat one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. Jalen Hurt had a little bit over 100 yards passing. They were giving up deep balls in the fourth quarter, and still they beat the Chiefs. It felt like it wasn't as comfortable as what they would have wanted. If Travis Kelce drops that ball, we're looking at a different. If he catches that ball, we're looking at a different football game. But Philadelphia has the pieces. They've got the offensive line, the playmakers on offense. A.J. Brown still has not gotten going yet. Once he does, this team will be elite. All those young players on defense, those studs, continuing to develop. They are at number 1. Number 2, the interchangeable 2 and 3 Bills-Ravens. Buffalo at 2 because they beat the Ravens in week 1. They came back from 15 points in the fourth quarter and last week shut down that high-flying week 1 Jets offense. Justin Fields goes down with a concussion and Buffalo just wins that game outright in about the first 20 minutes of gameplay. They go right down the field, look very tough to stop because of the run game. Allen using his legs. The development of Keon Coleman need to establish him more. Turn him into a true number 1 wide receiver, which they've been looking for since they lost Stephon Diggs in his production. But the defense looks just fine going forward as long as they don't play a Derrick Henry or maybe a Saquon Barkley, right? So number 3, the Baltimore Ravens. Obviously a really disappointing performance. They would maybe be number 1 if they won that game against Buffalo, but they've got a chance this week against the Detroit Lions to beat a really quality opponent. They go out there and play a certain way, they will move up potentially on this list. Baltimore's at number 3 because of their physicality. There can be a team maybe just as physical as Baltimore, but you're not more physical than that team. Lamar Jackson already playing at an elite level. He was unbeatable against the Cleveland Browns a week ago, even with the best defensive player coming off the edge like a monster in Myles Garrett. Lamar, Derrick Henry in that combo. Derrick Henry rushes for 40 yards against the Browns, and still they win that game really comfortably. The defense, the addition of Starks in the back end, an all-pro, and Kyle Hamilton going everywhere. Humphrey, Roquan Smith with a touchdown. That team has so many playmakers. Zay Flowers is a bona fide number 1 wide receiver. Ravens at number 3. The Los Angeles Rams at number 4. My second best NFC team. Might be asking, how do you have the Rams over Green Bay? Simply put, they've got a Super Bowl champion at quarterback, Matthew Stafford, with those 2 weapons now. Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. He is a true X wide receiver in Adams, a guy that can be soloed up one-on-one on the outside and win not every time. Win 70% of the time. That's what Adams has provided throughout his career. One of the most polished route runners in football. And then you have Puka Nacua, his versatility in and out of the slot. Kyron Williams with a burst out of the run game. And then we have to mention that defense with those youngsters up front. The secondary looking good. Nate Landman turning into a monster linebacker with the acquisition. He's already a captain with that squad. The Rams look very tough to beat. They are just in front of the Green Bay Packers at number 5. I've talked about it before, mentioned it last week, but Green Bay could have been in the conversation for Super Bowl contenders before the acquisition of Micah Parsons. The way Matt LaFleur is dialing up these plays as an offense, though, even without the run game getting going yet, they're not healthy up front. They will continue to establish the offensive line. They'll start to lean on people a little bit better. Without Jaden Reed for the next couple of months with the collarbone injury, still, that just means more targets for Matthew Golden, more targets for Tucker Kraft, who's been incredible through the first 2 games. And as a defense, still getting Micah Parsons more and more snaps as we go on into the season. We're not going to see him at full 100% until late October, most likely. Green Bay's defense, Van Ness has made that jump. That is clear in the middle. Devontae Wyatt, the secondary, McKinney, Nixon, Edgar and Cooper, who's turning into a bona fide monster in the middle of the defense. He's already close to the top of the league in total tackles. That Green Bay team is for real because they do everything right. Once they get that run game going, they could be at the top of this list. To number 6, Detroit has to establish the middle of that offense. Rutledge is new there. Don't have the center. He retires. Defensively, they're working in the youngster and Tyleik Williams, the first-round pick. Hutchinson off the edge. It hurts that they don't have Hassanein, their draft pick, out for the season already. Didn't even play a snap. Detroit has to get a push up front. They couldn't do that against Green Bay. Did a great job against Chicago last week. Goff had all day to throw. Decimated secondary for the Bears. Took full advantage of it. Amon-Ra Jameson, that offense was humming. Jahmyr Gibbs, they have to continue to get Jahmyr Gibbs the ball because when he has the ball in his hands, he's one of the best players in football. Detroit at number 6, very comfortably one of the better teams in the league. That offensive line, though, a little bit of concerns. Can they get better as the season goes on? Believe they will as they get a bit more familiarity, but they just have to stay healthy. That is the key. At number 7, another NFC team. They just knocked off the Houston Texans on the road on Monday Night Football. Tampa Bay Buccaneers. That offense now, they don't even have Chris Godwin, but they've got Emeka Egbuka solidifying his way in as the number 2 next to Mike Evans. If you want to call Egbuka number 2 in that offense, the thing about Emeka Egbuka is he doesn't care what you say about him. He's the type of guy that shows up. He's a great football player, does everything right. He's got elite speed, elite hands, quickness. He's one of the best blockers in the league already, not afraid to get his hands and nose dirty. The defense is dang good. Todd Bowles will have that unit crafted. 5th season in a row, they are 2-0. I put them right in front of the next team, the 2-0 Los Angeles Chargers, off of a little bit of a sloppy win over the Las Vegas Raiders. Would you have liked to drop more points on your divisional rival? Sure. But after that win against the Chiefs, slaying the Dragon that first game of the season, counts as a home game, but it's clearly not a home game for you. Huge win for the Los Angeles Chargers. And last week, what they did to the Raiders defensively, swarming Geno. The Raiders had 3-4 chances in the fourth quarter to find a way back into that game, and they just could not. Even without Khalil Mack, who, by the way, skated from a really bad injury. Now, was it gruesome? Did it look incredibly painful with the very tough Khalil Mack? Seeing him wince like that, it is something that you would be very fearful would happen to you, because that is a grown, tough MFer, and to see him look like that, that is, you can tell that he was in some serious pain, but he looks to not be out for a super long term. They're going to get him back this season. That team has so many weapons on offense, and the guy that could be the best of them all for them to utilize, Marion Hampton, the rookie, he's making mistakes. He hasn't even played well, and yet they are still moving the ball down the field at will, it seems like, except for the start of that game. It was a little sloppy, but Trey Harris, the kid out of Ole Miss, they bring in Keandre Lambert-Smith. The 2 young rookies haven't even been involved that much. Ladd McConkey, Keenan Allen, Quentin Johnston. That trio looks like it could be the best in football already. Allen's back. McConkey out of the slot is terrific. Maybe the best in football. And then Quentin Johnston turning into a bona fide superstar with his ability to catch the football. Had a nice year last year, but he's turning into a monster on that offense. Number 9, the Kansas City Chiefs, 0-2 for the first time since 2014, which was the last time they did not make the postseason. And it really makes sense to have this team where they are right now, still in the top 10. Patrick Mahomes, they've got an elite player in the middle of the defense in Chris Jones. This team is very good. They have to get Xavier Worthy back. They'll get Rashee Rice back, but it's surviving until that time as an offense. Travis Kelce, an uncharacteristic drop that costs your team a touchdown in a game that was winnable against Philadelphia. That's why I can't drop them below 10. a winnable game against New York this week. The concern, the offensive line. They took Josh Simmons to be the future at left tackle. He had a ridiculous play running down Andrew Makuba after that pick. Have to love the guts. A guy that had been hurt earlier in the game. We saw him missing some snaps. He comes back and makes that type of play. But we need to see Simmons stay healthy at left tackle. You're concerned about the longevity of Mahomes or that offense as a whole. They're forcing Patrick Mahomes to run the ball down the field more this first half of September than he even does later on in the season when it's playoff time. That can't be happening. They need to be able to run the ball, take the pressure off of Mahomes, but the offensive line isn't getting pushed. No longer Joe Thuney there. And the outside, your lack of weapons is clear. You're not getting separation and getting wide receivers. Mahomes is already running for his life. Not good signs, but you have to keep them still in the top 10 for now. Washington Commanders. The injury concern with Jayden Daniels is clear. Doesn't look like he's going to be playing this week. They need him healthy. Huge concern. That's just about the only concern with Jayden Daniels is his frame. He's one of the more lengthy quarterbacks. Most of these quarterbacks are thicker through the middle, about 225 pounds, 6'3", built very well. Jayden Daniels is a more of a leaner guy. He's got the wheels. My thoughts were this guy has to get up to 220, put on that weight so that he can add a bit more mass. So you get rid of those injury concerns. We see the sprained knee. He needs to avoid the bigger hits, keep himself upright. Like Lamar Jackson, perfect example. He's not 6'5", but they're built a little bit differently. He's thicker through the legs and the midsection, and it's hard to get a clear knock on him. Same thing with Jayden Daniels, but that's really the only thing. They're at number 10. Green Bay looked clearly like the better football team, offensively, defensively. They just lost Austin Eckler for the season with the Achilles, so looks like Deebo Samuel will get more looks out of the backfield, and that they will be giving the ball to Bill a bit more. Commanders at 10. The Houston Texans, an 0-2 team at number 11. That speaks to something, and that something is their front four. Wow. Will Anderson. Their acquisition of Will Anderson, second overall, and Will Anderson at third overall, CJ Stroud at 2. In the draft in 2023 is looking like one of the more smart moves an organization has ever made. They get the production out of Higgins, their second-round pick, a little bit more in that offense. They can get Tank Dell back. We'll see that offense mesh together. They really miss Joe Mixon right now out of the backfield. Are they getting Woody Marks a little bit more involved? Sure. But Joe Mixon was so impactful. His ability to break tackles, a red zone weapon, being able to score. Houston moved the ball decently against a good Tampa team. That game was so close. They're in winning position. Just need a stop. 4th and 10. They have Baker Mayfield hemmed in. He escapes for 18 yards and the first down, extending it. They lose seconds remaining. This is a good Houston team. They're in a weak enough division where we can see them absolutely still win that division and be a contender. At number 12, the Denver Broncos, off of a very tough loss to the Indianapolis Colts. They had that game. Knicks can't throw that pick. They can't be missing that kick late in the game. Got to make Daniel Jones go the length of the field to score a touchdown to beat you instead of a field goal, which is what Indianapolis does. I don't get why you're that pressurized to go all out to block. If it's a 30-yard field goal, I get it. It's a chip shot, but 60 yards without any defense on the field, Denver. I did not like that, but still, this is a good team for the Broncos. You know what I mean, a 60-yard kick. If there's no one out there on the field for defense, just making that kick is not easy to do, even in this day and age for field goal kickers. But that Broncos defense is still great. They do look like they'll come together as an offense. Huge positive signs that Troy Franklin is developing into a weapon for Bo Nix, the former teammates at Oregon. Number 13, the Atlanta Falcons. Hello, James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker. Some SEC edge rushers. These guys play like this. We could be looking at one of the best defenses in football. And Michael Penix keeps playing like that, getting the ball out on time, accurately, with pace, to Kyle Pitts, Drake London, Mooney, if he stays healthy, and Bijan Robinson toting the rock. this team could absolutely threaten the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the South. We saw how close that game was. Came down to a very makeable kick that goes wide right. Atlanta Falcons, a lot of positive signs coming out of that week 2 game against Minnesota. Sunday Night Football on the road, and you hold them to 6 points. Have to give that team a lot of the respect where it's due immediately. Having them at 13, they look like they could for sure be a playoff team this year. Now the NFC is loaded with a bunch of what we'll call tier 2 depth. It seemingly looks like Rams, Packers, Eagles are the 3 teams. Throw Tampa Bay into that bunch for the 4. But you've got 6, 7 teams in that tier 2 that do look like they can. Maybe Detroit establish themselves as a tier 1. You have to see them start to get pushed out as an offense. Number 14, the Arizona Cardinals. Right now, it just looks like a team that is lacking a true number 1 target. On the outside, Trey McBride is a great tight end. Looks like one of the best in football. He can score a lot more touchdowns this year than he had a year ago. They can get Marvin Harrison going. This is a team that competes in the NFC West. Very winnable game against the Niners without Brock Purdy on Sunday. They can get to 3-0 and haven't played great football yet. That they second part of the second half, fourth quarter, I should say, blowing that 20-point lead, still hold on. Good football teams win even when they don't have good spurts, when they have a low quality of play. The Arizona Cardinals look like they can be a good football team and contender. It's just they're in such a tough division. Gotta see what they do against San Francisco. Otherwise, we can be very realistic. Arizona's had fast starts before, but loving what we're seeing from the acquisitions on that defense. Jordan Burch, Will Johnson, rookies already making impacts. You have to love that. Number 15, San Francisco 49ers. I've got Cardinals 14. Decent quarterbacks, Purdy and Sam Darnold and Kyler Murray right around the same talent level. Matthew Stafford, far and away the best guy there, but that's why they're clearly in the top 10 in my top 5, and I've got these teams bunched together. San Francisco with a great win over Seattle. Go down the field, Purdy leads them on that drive. They just got to stay healthy. They're one McCaffrey injury away from being a 7-10 football team despite the nice 2-0 start. He has to stay healthy. Their offense runs through him. He's their leading wide receiver. He's got 15 targets, something like that, through 2 games already. He has to stay healthy. But if they're reliant only on him, and Juwan Jennings, Ricky Pearsall don't develop because George Kittle is out, that's how you see McCaffrey get a larger workload early in the year where he can't have the longevity to be healthy the whole season. That's the only concern right now for San Francisco because the defense does look pretty good. At 16, the Seattle Seahawks. Darnold getting used to that offense. A very young defense still with Witherspoon and Woolen, and I would like to see more of Nick Amenwari, the young guy's second-round pick. He has all the makings to be a future great one. Zabel in the interior on offense. They're a young football team. This is not a team that's going to be a contender this season. With Sam Darnold at quarterback, they're establishing themselves, trying to find their identity. Right, Kenneth Walker in the backfield with Charbonnet. They're still giving him a good rotation. Maybe give Walker a little bit more carries than Charbonnet. He's a bit more explosive. Got a lot of respect for Charbonnet, but it looks like that's where they should go. The yards per carry always seems to be a little bit higher. 17. There's the Indianapolis Colts. 2-0 on the year. Clearly, they know how to win so far. They dusted the Miami Dolphins and then a nice win in a game that some say they didn't deserve to win. They pull it out against the Broncos. Daniel Jones and that offense, they haven't punted yet this year. It's just score after score after score after score. This team just goes right down the field, and all they do is do what Chris Carter did to score touchdowns. Jonathan Taylor, Pittman, Tyler Warren, Josh Downs. His brother's pretty good at football too. I'll be a top 5 pick in the 2026 NFL draft. This team is perfectly positioned because in that division, just got to worry about Houston Texans, but Tennessee, Jacksonville, you can easily see 4 divisional wins there, and they're yet to get to that part of their schedule and play all their divisional opponents. The Indianapolis Colts, hello. have to be feeling good if you're a Colts fan right now. You keep giving the ball to Jonathan Taylor, and Daniel Jones doesn't turn the ball over, and he's accurate down the field, not making mistakes. This team can be right there at the end of the regular season, be competing for a playoff spot, especially that the Houston Texans are 0-2. You're 2-0 right off the bat. That very much so helps you a bunch. Only thing for Houston is they've played 2 NFC opponents. They haven't gotten into their conference record, so something very important to be aware of there. But again, 0-2, it's a nice little buffer for Indy to start off the year with. 18, the Pittsburgh Steelers. You can see that I've got a couple of teams here, the Vikings and the Bengals. I've got 19-20. The injury is to the quarterback. We'll get to them in a second. But Pittsburgh, I've got 18. Not at all impressed by Aaron Rodgers in that team after a great offensive performance against the Jets. They lay that out there. Rodgers 2 picks. This run game isn't what we're used to in Pittsburgh with Warren. It's clear that they're going to likely punish Caleb Johnson, their 3rd-round pick, for a while after that mistake. It happens. Can't give up a touchdown in that manner. You have to turn DK Metcalf into a weapon. A little bit more yardage. You have to get him his targets. You brought him in there, got rid of Pickens, so he can replace and replicate that production. Let's see it. Give him 8-9 targets. Let him make plays. Fire moves, get the ball to DK Metcalf. That's what I want to see out of Pittsburgh. They're just not an explosive offense. Defensively, they're fine. Jack Sawyer got a sack last week, the 4th-round pick rookie. A little bit of injury concerns with Cam Hayward. Guys, 36, 37. You'll see that. TJ Watt's a great player, of course. Probably the best, 2nd, 3rd best defensive player in the AFC. They're fine. Pittsburgh at 18, but you need to see more out of them. Big game on Sunday night in 2 weeks at home against Jordan Love and the Packers. At number 19, Minnesota. We're going to start with the quarterback because we're going to give him some slack. 2nd-year guy off of the injury. People want to tear his head off because he's played bad football for 7 quarters and good football for 1. We'll call it great football for 1 quarter. What he did against the Bears, Soldier Field, pulling that win off. Good job. Great job. The offensive line's been terrible. After losing Darisaw, they just have been a mess. They weren't able to protect Darnold last year, late in the year, and now McCarthy, they gave up 4 sacks in the first half. Well, maybe 5 sacks. They just got outmanned. It looked like Atlanta was a better team, and McCarthy didn't look right all night. That's my main concern is he comes back. Does he look the same way throwing the football, which wasn't great? His timing looked wrong. It didn't look like the ball was popping, coming out of his hand with velocity. His only good throw of the day against Atlanta was over the middle before halftime. We got to see more out of J.J. McCarthy when he's back. I actually think it'll help him that he's out the next 2 weeks. Take a deep breath. Emotional win week 1. National spotlight week 2. National spotlight. Get back to looking at what's happening, different perspective, and come back. And whether it's 2 weeks, 3 weeks, in a month, be able to come back a different player and know what the NFL looks like in these games. Because it's clear he hasn't settled in yet. He's missing some throws that he should hit. Interception in that game against Atlanta he shouldn't have thrown. Ball should have been further to the sideline. He misses it inside, not as much velocity on the ball. But Justin Jefferson's there. Addison will be coming back. Minnesota absolutely can be a team that can get back to the top 10 just because of their defense and those playmakers alone. Jordan Mason providing a lot, but that offensive line, they have to clean that up and clean it up in a hurry because it looks like their best offensive line player is the rookie, the left guard, Donovan Jackson. That's not a great sign. Number 20, Cincinnati Bengals. They just lost their starting quarterback. This could have been a team at number 10, 2-0. Floppy win. It's a divisional opponent against Cleveland and then Jacksonville, but Joe Burrow goes down, torn ligament in his toe, and here we go. Right back to where they were a couple years ago. It's survival mode. Bailing water. Keep this ship afloat until hopefully Joe Burrow comes back to save us. Browning can throw the football down the field. He's 7-6 as a starter. Can Browning go 500? Because let's say Burrow misses the next, let's call it 12 games. If they go 6-6 over the next 12, They are 8-6 with Burrow back. Right square in the middle of the playoff hunt. Go 500, Browning. Burrow comes back and the Bengals are in the playoff hunt. That's all you can do. Go 500. Go get first downs. You got Higgins, Jamar Chase. Doesn't have to be more complicated than it is. Worried about that defense, but Browning, you can't hurt your team by turning the ball over. Get it to Higgins and Jamar Chase. Simplify it for them. Number 21, the Dallas Cowboys. This team was a 64-yard kick away from maybe being at number 24. That defense, giving up 450 to Russell Wilson through the air, and if he doesn't chuck one up in the middle of overtime, they could still lose that game. That is a game the Cowboys normally lose, so give them credit. They have to run the ball. Well, Williams has been okay. Game at Soldier Field this week. Prescott, he's looked pretty good. He's aggressive, putting the ball in great spots. Very impressed by him week 1. CeeDee Lamb and Pickens, be better for your quarterback. Get open, the run game. This is what a number 21 team looks like right now. Can they go a little bit higher? Sure, if they beat Chicago on the road, but there's not a whole lot. Because I got the Bears lower on this list. Cowboys at 21. 22, the New York Jets. It's tough to have this team above the Raiders because the Raiders have a win at 23. But the Jets offense, like Armand Membu and Olu, give those guys until late November. Really looks like that offensive line could be a good unit with those tackles. People were saying maybe go Warren or Loveland at the tight end spot at 7. It looks like you could use one right now. So they didn't go Bowers. They went Fashanu last year. This year they go Membu instead of Warren or Loveland. I can't help but get a little bit of a sense that they may have missed one not taking one of those 3. It looks like maybe Warren or Bowers would have been the guys. The only thing that will save them is if those guys are monsters, because it looks like Brock Bowers could be a top 5 tight end for the next 12 years, and it looks like Tyler Warren's got the real. Loveland, we just haven't seen him get targets. Like, we got to see this guy play a little bit more. Warren, you can see it. Bowers, you only had to watch the guy at Georgia and play 5 games. It was clear that he's going to be a great player. And for the Jets, that's what we're looking at. This team feels like 6-11 written all over them. They'll win a couple of games. But New York, without Justin, he's out this week with the concussion against Tampa. That's got 0-3 written all over it. They can bounce back, but the defense giving up over 30 points a game through 2 weeks. It looks like Tampa's going to score a lot of points on them. New York got a good run game, got a good wide receiver, but man, did they look like they need another outside target. Something to address in the 2026 draft. It's tough we have to talk about the draft already with a team like them. 23, the Raiders. So Geno Smith's got to be more accurate. He knows that. I've got him down here because of the accuracy. That's a concern for me and Geno. The turnovers, we know that's been an issue for him. Can throw all the yards. Ashton Genty through 2 games. We're expecting a little bit more burst. A couple more big plays. He's been close. He's been close to breaking one, but hasn't done that yet. Brock Bowers, we know, but the health. Can he stay healthy? Defense looked pretty good against the Chargers. They kept him in that game. But the offense wasn't able to be up to the task. Vegas, 23. Chicago Bears at number 24. Look, that secondary might be the worst in the NFL right now after they were coming into the year believing that they were a top 8, upper 25th percentile in the league. You lose Jalen Johnson, maybe for the season. He's a top 5 corner, and Kyler Gordon's one of the best nickels in the game. They just expended long term, and these guys haven't been available in the defensive line. You've got a guy like Montez Sweat, you're paying $25 million a year. He's got 5 sacks, 5.5 sacks his last 19 games. They're just not getting to the quarterback, and the secondary just doesn't have the horses, it looks like, for a while in this year, unless they maybe get Jalen back later on in the season. That this is going to be a team that needs to just score points. Score 27 points a game with Ben. They got to hope that Johnson and Caleb start clicking. Otherwise, this could be a 5-11 football team because they're going to be giving up points. 3rd and 8, teams could get out of there. I would throw on that team. I know that running the ball is important, but I'm telling you, 1st and 10, come out throwing. Just attack that secondary. You got Stevenson, and then there's Nashawn Wright, maybe Black, but that's secondary. They're just weak right now. Chicago at 24, have to run the ball. A lot of stuff they got to do better. They've got potential. They got a lot of good players, but no production out of the rookie Burden or Loveland. Second rounders, Shamar Turner and Ozzie Trapillo have been healthy scratches. It just doesn't have the feel of a good football team right now. 25, New England Patriots. May looking better in that week 2 game. They win it against Miami. It was nice seeing some of those pre-snap penalties at the end of that game. That was a bit closer than you would have liked. Nice start up 12-0, but not a great middle of the game. The run game. So Amondre Stevenson and Gibson are the lead backs. We just took Travion Henderson. Is he healthy? What's going on with Travion Henderson? We just took this kid 2nd round. We would think that he's going to get more carries. The defense with Harold Landry and Milton, incredible with these guys in that defense. Landry with Vrabel pairing them again. That's a match made in heaven. Milton from the Philadelphia Eagles, he looks great. That team can rise. I was disappointed the way they looked against the Raiders. They could be a playoff team. They have to show me a little bit more, though, with May and start running the football better. Will Campbell has the makings to be I was going to say All-American. He wasn't All-American. All-Pro tackle. Need to see more out of New England, but I've got high hopes for them. Jacksonville Jaguars, Trevor Lawrence, he looks like the same guy. He looks like the same player we've seen the last 3 years. The ball's coming out the same. The decisions are the same. They beat a Carolina team that's why they're down on this list. Jacksonville, run game's not, the defense is okay. Like this Jacksonville team, Travis Hunter, he'll get better. He'll get used to the NFL, not just speed. I think the speed's fine for him. There's fast guys in college at wide receiver that you're running up against defensive backs, but they're just not this big and physical. You're not having to tackle 225-pound backs that can run with Travis Hunter type speed. That's the thing. He's got to get used to it, and he needs to pan out because they don't have a first rounder next year. Travis Hunter needs to be that generational guy. Trayvon Walker, 1st overall pick. Josh Hines-Allen, where we at? Let's play a little bit better football. Jaguars down at 26 for now. 27, the Giants would have jumped a couple of spots. They could have held on. Nice plays by Malik Neighbors, Wan'Dale Robinson establishing, but the defense, hello? We look pretty good against Washington. Hello? Where are we? Against the Cowboys? Russell, what are we looking at? What are we throwing on that Neighbors is down there. He wasn't even close to catching that ball in the interception. He had one of the best games of his career. New York, come on, we got to run the ball a little bit. You gave away, I'm not even going to mention it, but Malik Neighbors needs 14 or 15 targets. Throw the ball more to him. Make people double cover him every snap. Do to him what teams are doing to Jeremiah Smith. And Malik Neighbors is one of the best wide receivers in football right now. I'm might be even sliding A.J. Brown down a couple of slots and putting Neighbors in there. He's just that good. Adunze, Marvin, and Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is number 1 as of right now. Get this ball the ball more. New York, they got the Chiefs this week. Toughest schedule in football. It's just not a lot. Don't fire Brian Dable. What are we doing bringing Jackson Dart in the 3rd, 4th quarter to run? Doesn't make sense. Dolphins at 28. I don't want to talk about this team a whole lot because I don't want to be negative. They've got good enough players to have better performances. They got the Bills. Yep, that Thursday night. But Tua, the quick release, it didn't seem when we brought him in, him being the perfect match, right? So they drafted him. They bring Tyreek Hill. It just seems like you need a guy that can stretch the field more with that arm talent. And they brought in Tyreek Hill. I get it. But you have Tyreek Hill. You might as well use him. You've got Waddle, elite 4.28. Use these guys. The 4.3 speed Jalen Waddle. Hill. Achane looks great out of the backfield. But Miami Dolphins 28. I can't say I'm surprised had them going 5-11 into the season, but I'm just disappointed it looks like that. 29, Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young, come on, man. You're immobile in college. Go make the plays. Throw the football. The ball has to come out on time and accurately. It just looks really tough for Carolina. You gave up all that capital and sent it to Chicago, who's kind of squandering it right now. You gave that all up for Bryce Young. You give up your wide receiver more, and you give up all these picks. Again, Chicago we don't know yet what will become of that, but Carolina just needs more players. That's it. They need more guys. And their quarterback, him missing, this is a team that is far away. I thought they could win 7. They'll be lucky to win 5 games this year. McMillan looks good. Like Xavier Legette, he was a 32nd overall pick. Wasn't he a first round? Oof, tough. I thought Legette was not a guy that would miss, but it does not look good right now. He's just not. He runs a 15-yard out route. It turns into an 18-yard. It's almost he's angling. Snap it off. That needs to be coached. He's got the talent, the wheels. Carolina 29. The Titans at 30. It'll take time. Cam Ward's got it. He's the face of the franchise. Even if he's got a losing record for 3 years, I'm sticking with Cam Ward, giving him a full 3 seasons. You just don't have the players around him. Calvin Ridley, I thought he was number 1. He should be number 1. I want to motivate the guy. You got to make plays for your quarterback. The defense, they just need better players. There's a lot of better quality teams with just better talent there. Titans at 30. Browns at 31. It's just the quarterback play. You've just got such a ceiling on him. There's no the backfield. Quinshon Judkins has got to get more carries. I think they'll do that. Got 11 last week for 45, I think. The defense really misses Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Garrett's great. Mason Graham looks like he's developing. That team will improve. Like, they'll have the first rounder next year. They'll have the Jags pick, which looks like it could be high. They're just praying it's a top 10 pick, which it could be. Saints at 32. 0-2 right now. Spencer Rattler, got to see more of him. Looked very good last week. You have to like what you saw. Very similar to the lower part of this list. They just got to get more players. All those maturities and the cap space and limitations like that, they just need to wait time and build this roster out very clearly in the middle of a rebuild. Division is not great, but it does look like the Bucks are potentially legit once again. Been a playoff team for, 5 years in a row now. And you have Atlanta, who looks better. The Saints it'll be a couple years. Even if Rattler can play at a great level, it's just a tough conference, a lot of deep teams. Saints at 32, I appreciate you so much. Let me know down below what you think of the list, whether you agree, disagree. Let me know what you would change on the list, what you like, all of it. I got to hear from you guys. You can say you don't like the list, but let me know specifically what you would change about it. Let me know where it's perfect. This thing probably isn't exactly what you have. I want to hear more from you. That's what it's about. That's why I love making these videos. Blitz with Blender is all about passion, positive energy for football. So let's hear it from you guys. Please subscribe for more football videos in the future. We make NFL, college football videos every single day. So look out for all of that stuff and subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time.
Best player in college football.
That Georgia and Ohio State game, New Year's Eve, is going to be a classic.
Josh Blunder, hi everybody, I'm Josh Blunder.
To the 40, 35, 30, Espinosa to the 20.